South Korea is one of the world's most wired countries. Nearly every home has high-speed broadband internet, and on nearly every street corner, a 24-hour cyber cafe. But all that has come at a cost. More and more teenagers and even young adults are addicted to online gaming. They are so obsessed, they forget about basic social relations and responsibilities. I'm Chan Tao Cho. On this edition of 101 East, we explore the social impact in South Korea as the younger generation increasingly blurs the lines between the real world and the cyber world.
During my first week here, I was so miserable I wanted to die. I didn't know how I ended up like this. That was 5 months ago. My joints and my back were in excruciating pain. I was constantly gaming online for 5 days straight. I had 1 meal and 3 packs of cigarettes a day. When I hit 5 days, I would stop from sheer exhaustion. My eyes couldn't even open.
Worried about his job prospects, this patient at Anyang Neuropsychiatric Hospital requested that we conceal his identity. Now 29 years old, online gaming became his world 2 years ago after he lost his job. He became an avid player of World of Warcraft, a multiplayer role-playing game.
글쎄요, 일단 굉장히 중독성이 강한 게임이니까 많이 했겠지만
It's very addictive. Once I'm in there, I live my reality, you know? In that world, I'm a warrior, a wizard. I played so well. I outfought monsters and other opponents. The game awarded me the title of General. Other players recognized me online. They praised my glory. They called me a hero. Perhaps I wanted that feeling in real life, but I didn't have it. The satisfaction from that world kept me going back. My parents insisted that I seek help. I refused and became violent. I broke things at home. I fought my father. They wanted me to stop gaming and get a job. Eventually, they called the emergency services. I was taken away, hands tied up, and forced to be admitted here. I'm trying so hard not to go back to that life, but an addiction is difficult to break. Frankly, I don't know how it will turn out. The most important thing is I came to this hospital, and it has helped me a great deal.
The government estimates some 2 million South Koreans show signs of internet addiction. Nearly half are teenagers, and an increasing number are in their 20s and 30s.
There are 3 reasons why internet addiction is so serious in Korea. When a country becomes more industrialized, many young people tend to show signs of psychiatric problems like depression and isolation. Also, in single-parent families and families where both parents work full-time, children don't get enough care. Gaming is their way out when they have trouble in school or with friends. Another reason is Korea's high level of broadband internet connectivity and its strong online game industry. If we do not address this, national growth will suffer. Our research shows that tackling this problem costs us an astronomical amount of money every year.
But no amount of money can resolve some tragedies caused by internet addiction. In February, police arrested a 22-year-old man who stabbed his mother to death after she nagged at him to stop playing games. In the same month, a 32-year-old man collapsed and died after gaming for 5 days and nights. And one recent case sent shockwaves across Korean society. A jobless couple had continuously played 12-hour overnight sessions in an internet cafe, neglecting their 3-month-old baby. The husband Kim Jae-byum is 41 years old. His wife is 25. Last September, when they returned home from gaming overnight, they found their baby dead, shriveled from malnutrition. Born premature, she was fed milk twice a day, 3 times if her father woke up during the day. Police pictures show mold growing in her milk. In March, they were sentenced to 2 years in prison, but the judge suspended the mother Kim Yoon-jong's jail term as she's pregnant again.
They're a very shy and isolated couple, so they didn't know how to manage relationships with other people. They became addicted to gaming. They just had no will or knowledge to raise a child. They preferred long hours in the internet cafe. They didn't like face-to-face interaction. The online game gave them more freedom.
The couple met chatting online in 2008. Ironically, the role-playing fantasy game they were hooked on required their characters to take care of a young girl. In Prius Online, the girl grows as players progress. Her skills strengthen when they bond with her.
Addicts cut off communications with the outside world. They feel no social pressure. Slowly, they absorb into a virtual reality where they can happily stay and do anything they want.
인터넷 중독은 일반적인 화학적 중독, 의존의 특징을 거의 다 가지고 있습니다.
Internet addiction resembles chemical addiction to substances like alcohol, cocaine, and heroin. Addicts build up resistance and eventually need more and more of it to get the same kick. They start with half an hour online, then 12 hours, 24 hours. They get withdrawal symptoms when deprived. They feel nervous, throw tantrums, and lose mental focus.
그리고 실제로 가상현실에서 벌어지는 인터넷 중독자들이
The case of the addicted couple is a warning to all of us. Internet addicts in virtual reality have difficulty assessing which reality is more important. It's a problem that will keep happening if we don't pay enough attention to it.
앞으로 잘 관리를 하지 않으면
The sentencing of the addicted couple is Korea's first case of conviction for negligence due to internet addiction. Prosecutors wanted a minimum 5-year sentence, but the judge allowed mitigation based on their psychological report. The social consequences could be far-reaching.
우리 법은 만취 상태나
Korean law allows mitigation for crimes performed under unusual circumstances, such as alcohol intoxication. Such circumstances that cause people to behave abnormally.
범행 당시 인터넷 게임 중독으로 인해서
This could set a precedent so that online game addiction can also mitigate such behavior.
The Korean government is trying to tackle online addiction. 24-hour internet cafes, known as PC Bang, are off limits to teenagers between 10 p.m. and 9 a.m. It is also preparing a bill to shut down youngsters' access to gaming from home between midnight and 6 a.m. by denying their login IDs during those hours. But all that does nothing to stop growing numbers of adult gamers, as observed in this PC Bang.
20대 중반에서 그러니까
Customers in their mid-20s to early 30s stay the longest.
서로 같이 협력 플레이를 하게 되면 더
Usually for role-playing games, many people are playing at the same time. It's much more fun and interactive than playing alone. They get so engrossed they don't realize how much time passes. They keep moving up in game levels and it's hard to stop.
Perhaps it's also hard to stop because gaming culture is very much a part of Korea's social environment.
팀 내 워낙 좋은 선수들이 있다 보니까
One of the most popular online games is StarCraft, a military science fiction game of strategy. In the past decade, it has spawned a popular electronic sports or e-sports industry with professional players and teams, lucrative sponsorships, and televised tournaments. Like any sports fan, they love the game.
현실에서 못하던 그런
You can do things that you can't do in real life. You can feel emotions you can't feel in reality. I love this game.
I'm in the army now, so I'm playing whenever I'm on leave. My home is in Busan, so I'll play in a PC Bang.
It's a game of strategic simulation, very unpredictable, so you have to stay focused all the time. That's why I like it.
StarCraft with its byproducts, has created an industry worth $4 billion a year in Korea. But its popularity also makes it a source of gaming addiction.
그러니까 게임을 잘한다고 해서 중독이라고는 할 수 없어요. 물론 그렇지만
Just because you're a good gamer, it doesn't make you an addict. But if you're able to reach a professional level, there's a greater chance, depending on your susceptibility.
그러면 인터넷에 노출된다 그래서
We estimate about 10% of those with high exposure to the internet will become addicted.
After the break, we ask if online gaming industry breeds addiction. Also, a former game addict tells us how he kicked the habit. And the mother shares a pain of having to send her son to an internet rehabilitation camp. Stay with 101 East.
제 보물 1호라고 하면 마우스고
My biggest treasure is my mouse, then my keyboard, and of course, StarCraft. They mean so much to me.
This is the training center for South Korea's professional gaming team, KT ROLSTER. Backed by a local telecommunications company, it is one of the country's first and most successful esports teams. Professional gaming in Korea started in 2000. The Asian StarCraft champion, 18-year-old Lee Yong-ho, rakes in $250,000 a year, 6 times more than the average player. At KT ROLSTER, players reside in their training center for 10 months a year, living and breathing the game online. Mostly in their late teens, they put their education on hold, easily clocking more than 10 hours of StarCraft a day with 1 day off a week. Professional careers last about 5 years at top level. It begs the question, what is the difference between them and addicts?
이렇게 중독자와 저희 프로게이머 중 한 명을 머리 비교를 했어요. 검사를 했어요. 근데
We have taken tests. One pro gamer's brain activity showed that we are different from the addicts. We enjoy the game, but we don't play it when we are on holiday.
중독된 사람들은
Addicted gamers have no awareness. They just keep playing without taking a break. We are paid to do this. We rest when we're tired.
돈도 벌고.
But the government points to Korea's strong online game industry as one of the reasons for its internet addiction problems. There are 300 pro gamers in the country, an estimated 10,000 youngsters aspiring to make the cut, and 200,000 viewers watching televised tournaments.
분명히 사회적으로 문제도 있고 저희
This is a serious matter. The aspiring pros are part of the problem. Pro gamers progress in measured stages and are well respected. The fans and the e-sport viewers are mostly young students. They may be blindly fascinated and want to play like the pros, and that causes problems.
Rather than fight the uphill battle against online gaming, Seoul DIGITECH High School decided to try and turn it in their favor. In 2000, it set up a gaming department to prepare students for the industry.
The gaming industry requires a high-level programmer. You need a lot of the graphic designer and visual effects and sound effect, those kind of things.
This year, the school even created an esports team for aspiring professional StarCraft gamers. But even though the principal recommends no more than 5 hours of gaming a day with breaks in between, it's hard to enforce that after the students go home.
학교 올 때는 학교에서랑 집이랑 한
On school days, I play 7 to 8 hours a day. For weekends, I think 9 to 10 hours a day.
9시간, 10시간 하는 것 같아요.
The game culture will be growing and expanding in our lifestyle. Rather than we move away from the game industry, we have to be actively working into that area and make a change. That's one of the reasons why I've created the esports team, providing some kind of benchmarking, how to play the game wisely in a sound, healthy way. You have to spend certain hours for the physical education and resting. Addiction on gaming is not a problem from the game itself. It is other social problems. I think mainly it is a family breakdown.
Indeed, the school has already seen what happens when parents don't do their part.
During the school hours, their concentration is quite low, and some students are just sleeping, and also some students are repeatedly late for the school.
Now a law student, 21-year-old Lee JONG-KOOK showed plenty of those signs before he shook off gaming addiction in high school. Last year, he won an essay competition. His article, a personal account of his years as a game addict. The submission has since been published in this book.
돼지라는 별명을 얻었을 정도로 초등학교 시절에는 심한 게임 중독에
I was severely addicted. Other than gaming, I just ate and slept. My friends called me a pig. I was so obese.
성적이 직접적인 문제는 아니었습니다. 성적이 행복 수준은 아니니까요.
My school results gave me no joy. I had a meaningless life with no purpose or vitality. I would come home at 3 p.m. and turn on the computer immediately. It would be past midnight before I knew it. Normal human relationships and hobbies were impossible.
게임 속의 생활이 좋았던 것 같아요. 아무래도
I think I preferred my life online. You don't become a game addict if you have satisfaction in real life. I just became more and more absorbed.
아예 정말 정신적으로 혼동하진 않았던 것 같고요.
I wasn't really confused about which was the real world, but I would mimic the actions of the game's characters, how they die and how they attack monsters.
그런 처음에는 좀 이제
My parents were very worried. When I kept ignoring their instructions to stop, they resorted to pulling out the plug mid-game. It made me so furious, I would blow up at them.
Desperate to change his ways, his parents began by changing their own ways. Instead of reprimanding him, they paid him more attention and even showed interest in his games.
제 입장에서는
I began to see they were treating me like a grown-up and trying to be with me more. I started to feel guilty about my addiction. I tried to study hard to make them happy. In my first year in high school, I made it to the top 50.
그때 처음으로 방송
I appeared on school television to receive an award. For the first time, I felt rewarded in real life. I realized this is what achievement feels like. I wanted more and I studied harder for it.
Now entering his final year in law school, perhaps the opening of his winning essay best sums up his turnaround.
개천에서 용난다더니 네가 이렇게 될 줄은 꿈에도 몰랐다.
Even from a drain, a dragon is born. That's how my friends tease me. Not in their wildest dreams did they expect me to go from bottom 20 in the whole school to top 5 eventually.
저는 이런 말을 들으면 가볍게 웃으면서 겸연쩍어 합니다.
More and more parents are taking action about their children's internet addiction. Last year alone, more than 300,000 such cases were filed with the Korean Youth Counseling Institute. That's nearly an 80% jump from the year before. The government estimates that out of every 100 youths, 14 are at risk of internet addiction. Experts say up to 70% of addicts are mentally troubled. As teenagers, they usually have ADHD or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. They are also likely to suffer depression as adults. Three hours drive east of Seoul, in Pyeongchang, the government has been conducting what it calls internet rescue camps for teenagers since 2007. Unlike adults, it's much easier for parents to drag teenagers to attend counseling programs. Like it or not, the youngsters have no access to computers or mobile phones. They move to the beat of instructors, taking part in activities like performances and outdoor camping. Counselors say when at home, these teenagers typically use the internet for 12 to 18 hours a day. The camp helps them build emotional bonds with the real world in order to distance themselves from the virtual one.
이 아이들이
순수하게 자발적인 목적에서 이 프로그램에 참여하지는 않았기 때문에
These children are not here out of their own free will. Either their parents or school teachers recommended them. Initially, they're not motivated and some of them become angry. But when they experience alternative activities, the instructors show them a lot of attention and they feel mentally supported. It stabilizes them. They feel less dependent on technology and more on personal relationships.
Parents are also invited to attend one-on-one counseling sessions on the last day of the camp.
The doctor says my son has depression. I have so much pain inside. It was hard to see him as an internet addict. I haven't done much for him.
Kim Hye-kyung was guilt-ridden that her son became so addicted to online gaming.
He played almost every day. He had no interest in his studies or anything else, no passion, but I just let him be. The counselor told me to look at my boy more positively, praise him more. I'm not the kind of mother who keeps interfering with his life. I don't force him to do things. I wanted him to be independent and responsible for himself, but it didn't work out because he was given too much freedom.
That evening, camp participants performed for their parents. But Kim Hye-kyung's 15-year-old son took no part. Counselors say he opted out after he was hit on the head by a ball during a morning activity. Still, his mother was happy to join other parents in the audience. It was a chance to see their children again, without the internet. But this is just the easy part of the rehabilitation.
They will return to their daily lives after the camp. That's why we emphasize the importance of parents coming on the last day so we can talk to them. At home, they need to continue providing the lessons and environment that we offer.
놀랍죠. 무슨 말이냐면은 근데 이제 이거는
This is not just Korea's problem. Globally, faster internet speed is more and more accessible to everyone. So children need to be taught to handle the situation. If there are no controls in place to address it, Korea's problem will be repeated all over the world in 1 or 2 years.
So South Korea's lightning-fast broadband speed might have made it one of the most wired countries in the world. But today, it also finds itself on the global front line of internet addiction.